Greetings from West Lafayette, Indiana. Student life creates a dynamic out-of-classroom experience at Purdue University. Dedicated professionals in student life help Boilermakers find their campus home. We work tirelessly to support students and to help them pursue their dreams. Our work brings together housing, activities, arts, people, programs, and more to create a vibrant residential campus experience. In student life, our Parent and Family Connections area is Purdue's critical point of contact for our families. Our team provides parents and families with information, resources, tools, and more. We recognize that families are a key part of student success, and we are excited to engage families as partners throughout their Boilermakers educational journey. Hail Purdue!
Purdue Parent and Family Connections, in collaboration with Student Life and other partners across the campus, creates a series of Purdue family videos throughout the year. The videos communicate topics of interest to educate and inform families about services, tools, and resources.
Hi, my name is Jeff Elliott. I am the Executive Director of University Advising here at Purdue, and I wanted to take some time to talk to you about academic advising and to give a little bit of perspective on the philosophy advising here at Purdue, and also to give, as parents, you some guidance on how to help work with academic advising to make the most of your students' experience. Here at Academic Advising, as partners with Student Life, we set our highest priority as the goal to help students flourish and make the most out of their college experience. I've been working in higher ed for 24 years. I started out in academic support, tutoring, supplemental instruction, and things like that. And the past 17 or so years have been working specifically in academic advising. I have a PhD in higher education administration and have worked in a variety of areas and a variety of types of institutions. So I've really enjoyed having a diverse experience to bring to Purdue and help out. I will share, though, on a personal note, my own experience as an undergraduate was attending a university that did not have any sort of advising model. They didn't have professional advisors for sure. And so my own experience with advising as an undergraduate was really standing in line outside the department head's office, waiting for my turn to allow the department head to fill out a form for me that I carried to the student union, where I got a schedule, and that was it. That's a significant thing to share because the problem for me was no one ever asked me a pretty critical question about going to college. Why? And to be honest, it took me 8 years to get my bachelor's degree, in large part because without a sense of purpose, I didn't really know why I was doing what I was doing. And it really has shaped a lot of the philosophy in my leadership here in advising to recognize that what was missing for me, it wasn't the advice, it was the relationship. And I'd also share, I've started since I began here at Purdue talking to parents in the summer as they come in. We'll probably see many of you this summer as well. And I was struck this past summer by the number of parents who approached me after my talk to explain that they were really concerned that their student was under a tremendous amount of pressure to either follow in their footsteps or to satisfy their idea of what the student's success would be. And these were parents who were coming to me as, mom and dad are both engineers. They both have successful businesses or something along that line. And it was a really profound moment to have a number of parents come to me and say, I do not know how to explain to my student that I do not care what they major in and that they don't have to follow us, but we just want them to be successful and we want them to be happy. And that is a dramatic change. I think we can all guess at where some of the reasons for that came from, but it's a major change and it's something that I think is really a change for the best. So in talking about advising, the thing I like to share always to start out is that advising is the only thing at Purdue University that is required of every single undergraduate student. That's great because it means that every student's going to see an advisor, but we don't help ourselves out a lot. What we do is we hold the schedule hostage. We put a hold on the student's account. They are not able to register, and that includes orientation, so their first schedule. The reason for that is that we want to ensure that every student sees us. The reason that that's a problem is that students immediately see advising as a transaction, and the ultimate goal is simply the building of a schedule for the following semester. That is the smallest part of what an advising experience is supposed to be, and it's something that I work very hard to help make sure the advisors understand as well. My goal here in this video is to help you understand what advising is at Purdue so that you can help us support your student. So I just will say, I'm going to give you 3 little tips and give a summary of those to begin with. The first is that I think parents should be prepared to be vulnerable themselves with their students. Next, I don't really like for parents to ask yes or no questions. What we like to try to do is help frame questions about how college is going, not only by asking open-ended questions, but by framing those questions in strengths and interests. Lastly, I'd like to help reinforce that you are a part of helping us build a positive relationship with students. And even though we may not always be interacting regularly, we still are working together on a similar goal. So back to point 1, vulnerability. I think the thing that most parents see in their students is a desire to be successful. We have unfortunately built this expectation where students, it's not intentional, and I think we often actively try to discourage this thinking, but students tend still to think that any failure is a comment on their ability. But Purdue's a STEM university, which means that virtually everyone here understands failure is not only expected, it is celebrated. Failure is how success comes. It's not so much, it's really telling students regularly, it's not about whether or not you fail. You will. You'll fall short of goals temporarily. From time to time, it happens. That's not important. What is important is what students do with that experience. So what's really important is that we help break down that sense that there's something wrong in missteps. And a really important part of that is if you're able to share your own experiences. If you went to college, the moment that you struggled, sharing that with them is not only helps the 2 of you or the 3 of you get to a common ground for a conversation, it's modeling very important behavior. And all 3 of these tips that I'm providing have to do with the same thing, which is helping get your students to a point where they feel comfortable getting help. Point number 2, closed questions don't tell us anything. You know your students better than I do, and you know very well if you ask them a yes or no question about something like school, you're going to get a yes or no answer. What we want are open questions that stoke a conversation with a student. And we don't really want to try to talk so much about failures, disappointments, hardships. We know that's a part of it. One thing that advising at Purdue is about is strengths-based conversations about student progress. What we mean by that is helping students identify what they do well and where their interests lie to give them an opportunity to learn more about what's the appropriate path for them. By asking students questions like, when your student comes to you and says, this semester is crazy, I don't know if I'm going to pass anything, I'm really worried, all the sort of things that they're going to come and share with you. If you can help them identify, well, what's the one thing that's going well? Or of the classes you're in for the fall, which one really captures your attention and why does it do that? Engaging them in conversations, helping them bring to the surface that they do have strengths that apply and that it is okay if things are going not as well as they had imagined. It's really part of the process. And then the final point is really, I guess, what I tend to say is my definition of academic advising. The primary responsibility of advisors at Purdue is to build a relationship with your student. And so relationships require maintenance, and they require participation from both sides. What would be extremely helpful is if you could talk to your students about understanding their responsibility in their advising experience, putting in the effort to get to know the advisor, actually more so putting in the effort to help the advisor get to know them, and then being comfortable sharing what their thoughts are, what's going on. It takes time to build a meaningful relationship. That's one of the reasons why we require advising every semester, and we want students to help us out with that. It also makes the advising appointment much more productive if students understand that they need to come prepared. And so if they put some thought into what they want to talk about, the advisors are able to move much more quickly. I just want to thank you all for taking the time to see this. I really appreciate parents because I see how important life outside of the campus is to student success. And when you are interested and involved and trying really to understand what's going on and help your student become their own advocate for themselves, you're doing so much more towards their success than you may ever really realize. So to summarize the information I shared, number one, please be comfortable being vulnerable. Number two, remember to ask open-ended questions and to frame them within strengths and interests. And number three, help us reinforce that the students are the owners of their experience in college. If you'd like to know more about Purdue Advising, please visit purdue.edu/advisors. And I want to thank you for watching this video. Your participation in your students' education makes an enormous difference. As a partner with Student Life, we in Academic Advising set as our highest priority the goal to help students flourish and make the most of their college experience. Parents and families are the key to making that happen. Boiler up, hammer down, hail Purdue.
Purdue Parent and Family Connections appreciates our parents and families. We are grateful for your engagement. We hope that the Purdue Family video was of interest to you, provided new knowledge, and informed you about services, tools, and resources. Scan the QR code with your phone to share feedback. Thank you for watching.